you've enjoyed your Shuttle Atlantis experience so far. We have 4 distinguished speakers today, and the format today, they're each going to speak for a few minutes. Then we'll take Q&A from you all, and then as the speaker schedules are available, they may be able to do one-on-ones as well. Any questions? Okay, good. It's my pleasure to introduce our Chief Operating Officer for Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, Bill Moore.
Afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Welcome home, Atlantis. We could not be more proud to be standing in front of you today and welcome everyone to this incredible $100 million attraction, the only one of its kind in the world. It was the home of human spaceflight here at the Kennedy Space Center. We launched and processed all 135 space shuttle missions from 1981 until 2011, including Atlantis' 33 missions that she flew. Kennedy Space Center is more than just a final destination for Atlantis. It's really always been home. It's the only place that you'll see an orbiter displayed like this. Payload bay doors open, Canada arm out, just like she was working in space. As our astronaut friends can attest to, a little harder to do this on Earth than it is in zero gravity. An attraction like this does not come based on the work of a couple of people or even a few. It's literally hundreds and hundreds of people to do this. Our partners at NASA, who've entrusted us with this priceless artifact, our colleagues at Delaware North companies around the world who are headquartered in Buffalo, New York. We've had the privilege of operating the Kennedy Space Center now for 18 years, and our president will be with us to speak with you in a moment. But we also have a number of contractors, some local, some here in Florida, and some around the world. The foremost is our design company, PGAV Destinations. Mike Kozen, their chairman, will speak to you in a moment. And they've helped us design and build and come up with a concept for this, along with a lot of other companies, including, and if you're here from the companies, feel free to raise your hand, BRPH, Cortina Productions, Design Island, Ivy's Construction, Electrosonic, Guard Lee, Mousetrap, the Nazzle Company, Pinwall Industries, Unified Field, Whiting Turner, and many, many more. Thank you all for your tremendous contributions to this amazing building. As always, we're grateful for the tremendous support of our elected officials. We've had great support from the Economic Development Commission of Florida Space Coast, the Space Coast Office of Tourism, Visit Orlando, and Visit Florida. We share this proud moment with Space Florida, who helped us finance and put the campaign together to keep the orbiter on the Space Coast for millions of guests to see every year. An attraction like this is an investment in the future of the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. And so we have business partners such as Bank of America, and it's important to note that all of this attraction was not funded with taxpayer money or appropriated funds, but entirely funded through revenue generated here at the visitor complex. And of course, the real hero behind me was not done by a few people, but by thousands of men and women who worked for many, many years, building the shuttle, processing the shuttle, flying the shuttle, and bringing Atlantis home. Celebrating all of those efforts is what we've tried to do here at Space Shuttle Atlantis. We set out to pay tribute, not only to the vehicle, but to the people, the passion, and the patriotism behind NASA's 30-year Space Shuttle program. But just as important is the future of the space program. It rides on the shoulders of the shuttle behind us. It was made possible by all those who came before this vehicle, all those who shared a dream of manned spaceflight and worked tirelessly to make it a reality. That legacy makes this attraction all the more special. It will be and forever be the only place in the world where guests can see a NASA Space Shuttle orbiter, the past and the present home of manned spaceflight. But of course we have a lot more to offer guests than just one attraction to become nose to nose with Atlantis. But we have a chance here to get people to experience what it might be like to be an astronaut. To land the space shuttle, to dock with the space station, to maneuver the shuttle's robotic arm, and maybe even to take a walk in space. But these are just a few of the interactive experiences. We have more than 60 in total. that tell the story of the entire attraction devoted to the space shuttle. When Atlantis landed for the final time, July 21st, 2011, it was said that the voyage had come to an end. We're going to challenge that a little bit. We think a little differently about it. Atlantis' voyage has not ended. In fact, it's just begun. Whether you call it STS-136 or a new mission, it really doesn't matter. Atlantis is just the beginning to educate and to inspire an entire future generation of space explorers. Please join me in welcoming to the podium now Mike Kozen, the chairman and principal of PGAV Destinations, and Mike was one of the big architects behind putting this attraction together. Mike, welcome.
Thank you, Bill. I want to congratulate Director Cabana, Rick Abramson, and Bill Moore on this extraordinary achievement. This is also a good opportunity for me to thank Delaware North Company's Parks and Resorts and the staff of the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex for the opportunity to participate in the development of this marvelous attraction. This is a very special day at the end of a long and very wonderful journey, and so it's a moment for reflection on this project. We had the great fortune to serve as a lead design firm for the project, including the architecture and the exhibits and presentation media. And you should also know that we had the joy of collaborating with a wonderful group of professionals here from the visitor complex, both from NASA and from Delaware North. This truly was the product of a great team. You see all their ideas here together. So how was this project conceived and designed? Well, first you have to start with Atlantis herself. When we first saw her, we were stunned at her beauty and complexity. And so we knew that we needed to get visitors as close as possible, from as many angles as possible. More importantly, everyone on the team agreed that she should be depicted doing the work she was designed to do, in space, in low Earth orbit, with the payload bay doors open. I would submit to you that this is the ideal way to see her. Secondly, you need to think about the project's mission, which, as Bill mentioned, which is to inspire the next generation of space explorers. Now consider that many of these future explorers may not even be born yet. In fact, it's pretty sure that many of them will not have seen any of Atlantis' missions. And so we had to create a proper introduction with a good backstory, an emotional build-up, and a dramatic reveal, which you just saw. Third, you have to celebrate her great moments. Atlantis played a key role in so many of the important missions, including those involving the Hubble telescope and International Space Station. And so we created experiences, which you see here, around those achievements, and which will live on. Fourth, you have to make it fun and memorable to appeal to as wide of an audience as possible. Personally, I love to think of the many millions of photos that will be taken with cameras and phones featuring Atlantis over the coming years. And we had to make room for that to happen, for people to be able to take those pictures. It was very important. But we also wanted to create exciting moments, like experiencing re-entry, as the shuttle did, on a slide, or exploring the inside of the International Space Station, or operating several training simulators just like real astronauts. And finally, she should be housed in a building that speaks of her iconic presence and that is big enough for her to fly at this 43.21 degree angle inside. That takes a lot of space. Atlantis is power and grace personified. So the result is a shape that symbolizes the shuttle's journey, a launch and a fiery re-entry, and a monumental entry outside that can be seen for miles, a 180-foot external tank and solid rocket booster assembly. I'm pretty sure that you won't find more dramatic entry to any attraction anywhere in the world. So it's my pleasure to say, welcome home, Atlantis. Your next journey has truly just begun. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mike, for those remarks. I'd like to introduce a pretty familiar face to some of you. Rick Abramson is the president of Delaware North Parks and Resorts and executive chairman of Delaware, North Australia, and Asia. For 8 years, Rick was here as the General Manager, Chief Operating Officer at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. During his 8-year tenure, we built the $130 million redevelopment that included the Saturn V building, which is still extremely popular today. It included opening of a new educational and program and exhibits. And Rick has really got Delaware started on this amazing journey, which we enjoy today, culminated in many ways by a second big addition of here at Atlantis. So with that, Rick, please join me.
Thank you, Bill. It's great to be back home. Hey, what do you think of this, huh? Unbelievable. Welcome to the Space Shuttle Atlantis. I'd like to get this microphone straight first. I'd like to especially welcome the 40 astronauts that will be here later. Here with us this whole weekend, who will always be heroes in our eyes and continue to inspire generations to come of the wonder of space and the exploration of it and all the sciences around it. We've had the privilege of telling NASA's story, as you heard, here at the Kennedy Space Center in new and innovative ways for nearly 20 years, including the Saturn V and the shuttle launch experience that you've all grown to love. But when we began this mission of creating fitting and moving tribute to tell the story of the Space Shuttle program and the historic role that the Space Shuttle Atlantis has played in space exploration, we knew it had to be special. We knew we had to tell her story and that of the heroes in a way that would pay proper tribute to the remarkable missions they had together. I am confident, and I'm sure you are too, when visitors experience this epic attraction, they will be left awestruck and moved beyond anything they might have expected. Space Shuttle Atlantis, those men and women who flew her, and just as important, the thousands of people who worked to make the missions possible. They deserve nothing less. I want to take a minute to thank a few key people who have helped bring Space Shuttle Atlantis and all that you see to the visitor complex come to life. First, I'd like to recognize the visionary leadership of NASA. They are the ones who picked Delaware North, so that's pretty visionary. Especially Charlie Bolden, who will be here a little later, heading up NASA. Space Shuttle Atlantis must hold a special place in Charlie's heart, and when he sees us, I'd like to be right there by him, because you know he commanded this spaceship. I would also like to thank Bob Cabana and the entire team at the Kennedy Space Center for their vision, their partnership, and the whole team effort that brought this whole project to reality. Their commitment to this mission of building a new home for Atlantis was this, and only this. They told us, do it right. The astronauts who flew her and the crew members who worked on her historic missions deserve it. And I think we did. I have a great fortune of working for truly one of the most admired and really one of the coolest companies on the planet, Delaware North. Delaware North is nearly 100 years old and has been owned by the Jacobs family ever since its founding. The Jacobs family believes in the national mission, and we count the Kennedy Space Center as one of the true pillars of excellence in our organization. Space Shuttle Atlantis is certainly a testament to their commitment to the Kennedy Space Center. I'd like to thank Chuck Moran, who's the president, and for his insightful leadership and directing us through this program. And I have to thank the entire executive team of Delaware North, both here at Kennedy and in Buffalo. Here at the Visitor Center, Bill Moore and the hundreds of associates that are dedicated every day to tell the NASA story, past, present, and future. I thank you too, Bill. Your passion about space exploration is infectious, and I know each one of you are thrilled to now have the Atlantis and over 60 fun, educational, interactive exhibits and simulators to inspire even more visitors. Hundreds of individuals and companies played a role in this new $100 million Space Shuttle Atlantis home. Well done, everybody, well done. Again, thank you for this opportunity. I hope we can make it. I hope you all can make it back here tomorrow for their extraordinary first day, so we can have some record attendance. Now, without further ado, I will introduce a real American hero and a true leader, our Center Director, Bob Cabana.
Wow. Huh? Isn't that a wow? I've been following this closely for the last couple of years. I remember when it was a bunch of cartoons over in a conference room over in the admin building. And we had a vision for what we wanted it to be. And I want to thank Delaware North and PGAV. Mike, Bill, Rick, you certainly have fulfilled my vision of what I wanted for Atlantis in the Kennedy Space Center. It's truly awe-inspiring. I've been over here a lot. I've seen it. You know, I saw it roll over here. I saw it in shrink wrap. I saw it when it was displayed like this. But today's the first day I got to see the two movies, and I'll be honest, it brought a tear to my eye. It is truly amazing. So thank you to the NASA Delaware North team that made this possible. But more importantly, thank you to the amazing NASA contractor team that made it possible with a 30-year shuttle program that was truly fantastic. I am extremely proud of what we have accomplished, and as good as it is, it's going to get better. Atlantis now begins its second career. It's going to continue to inspire future engineers, scientists, and astronauts. I remember a long time ago as a young midshipman coming down and seeing Saturn V rockets here. I never dreamed I'd be an astronaut. I never dreamed I'd be the director of the Kennedy Space Center. I had a passion to fly, and it started a long time ago at the Smithsonian, seeing the Wright Flyer and the Spirit of St. Louis hanging from the ceiling. I said, that's what I want to do. I want to be a pilot. And one thing kind of led to another, and I ended up here. And I couldn't be more pleased with how things turn out. But I'm hoping that some young boy or girl is going to see Atlantis and going to say, wow, isn't that special? I want to be an astronaut. I want to explore. And that's what NASA's about. It's about exploration. It's going beyond. It's exploring. It's reaching beyond, getting our dreams, making them become reality. And we're doing that. We're going to explore beyond planet Earth. We're going to develop commercial capabilities to get our crews to the International Space Station. And we're going to continue to do great things. And the reason we're going to do that is because of the amazing team that we have here. There are none finer. And so to the entire team, to the team that made this happen, my sincere thanks. I think this is a world-class exhibit, and I couldn't be more proud of what we've accomplished. Thank you.
With that, we will entertain some questions and answers. I'll have the microphone. If you will raise your hand, I'll come by. Please give your name and affiliation. And then, gentlemen, you may want to gather around here and take the questions. Also, I wanted to say after this, you are more than welcome to explore Space Shuttle Atlantis. We do have a little bit of activity going on downstairs, getting set for a reception. But please explore and enjoy everything here. That first question. Thank you.
Tom Halverson of Florida today, for whoever wants to take it. Obviously, this was technically and engineering challenging. I was wondering, of all the different difficulties you faced, what was the biggest challenge in getting Atlantis into this special configuration?
I got to say one thing, and then I'll let Mike and Bill answer. But when it rolled over here, you know, it had the strong decks on the payload bay doors. And those doors are not meant to be operated in 1G. In the Arbor processing facility, there are counterweights that allow the motors to drive them so that we can operate them and check them out on the ground. And they disconnected the linkage from the motors so that once they got over here and we unlocked them, they could swing freely. But I told Bill, I said, you better not damage those doors doing this.
And that's the
a true story. Todd, I have an amazing group of people that I wish I could have them all up here to share what they had to go through. A private company like ours has never moved a space shuttle, ever. And we had, as Bob mentioned, an amazing group of NASA people, contractors that helped us. Moving it was hard. It cleared, the right wing cleared the right door by about an inch or two on the way in. They told me that was all good. I thought I was going to die. We picked it up, and we did some amazing things. We didn't just test the first time to pick Atlantis up here. Our team that worked really hard actually went to a local company, and we fabricated a shuttle out of mass, and we picked up more weight than the shuttle weighs today, and picked it up and tilted it. And I went over there towards the last couple of days, and they said, you know what, I think we can do this. And I said, well, I hope we can too. And so we picked it up, and it rotated pretty smoothly, actually, the second time we had done that. And then, as Bob mentioned, the payload bay doors were very, very hard. So everything we did along the way was a series of calculated thinking processes with our design teams and with our engineers and with our staff. And with help, a lot of help from NASA and all the contractors, even some of the folks that had moved on from the shuttle program, were willing to come in and spend their time with us and say, well, here's an idea. And so for our team and for all those that helped us, they made a hard job really easy. But it looks good today, but there were a lot of sleepless nights along the way, I'll tell you.
I would like to add something else, and that is when you build about 3/4 of a building and leave one wall out so that you can insert a priceless artifact like Space Shuttle Atlantis and then finish the project around her, that's a sleepless night or two. And I want to take the opportunity to recognize a couple of people, Tim Macy and Doug Woolard, who worked on Bill's team to really manage the construction. Actually, these gentlemen are standing over here. And those guys led the construction team that really helped to figure all that out. And on the other side of this, there was a strong NASA team that really worked on the preparation of Atlantis so that the timing of when she could be rolled over and brought into the facility was just right. And the window was small, and they nailed it perfectly. So they get great credit as well.
Just a quick follow. I was wondering who came up with the 43.21 degree angle of attack, and what's the story behind that?
Sure. As I mentioned before, the idea was to be able to present her with as many angles as possible to create the sense that she was in space. And to be honest with you, a lot of hours spent in computer modeling, looking at lots of different angles. We didn't start off with 43.21, and it was almost a happy coincidence that it ended up being something kind of memorable in the end. But this was really about point of view and understanding what a child would see and what an adult would see from various angles. And that's how she came to be.
Hi, Clara Moskowitz with Space.com. My question is how much you expect attendance to increase with the opening of Atlantis, and whether preliminary orders of tickets can help you quantify that.
Who else is here, but he didn't want the questions, so thanks, Claire. We've opened, this is our third really large attraction like this, so ever since Rick and his team opened the Saturn V, and then later on we launched the Shuttle Launch Experience, we've seen nice bumps, double-digit bumps, 10, 12, 13% in that order. The nice part is, in these days of digital world, we monitor web traffic and we monitor interest, and Atlantis started moving about 2 weeks ago. We did some technical rehearsals, and the social media world sort of took off, and every day more people came to see it. The first day we did technical rehearsals, and they were about the same time every day, ran about 3 or 4 hours. We had about half the people here see it. The last day we did it, which was yesterday, 94% of the people here came to see it, and we didn't open until 1:20. So I think that says a lot about the interest. But we feel really good. When the space shuttle program ended, there was sort of this malaise, and this exhibit has wiped all that malaise away, and people really get that Kennedy Space Center is alive and well. There are some amazing things going on here. Not only in this exhibit, for people coming We have a mock-up of a ground unit of Orion out there, so they can see, we're still doing things. We're still going to space. And so, as I said earlier, this is not about history. It's showing the history so we can pave the way for the future. So I think the numbers are going to be pretty good this summer. Thank you.
Jason Ryan from AmericanSpace.com. I'm going to kind of play off Todd's question. He mentioned some of the hardships you guys went through. What are some of the little special moments as you were preparing Atlantis for her big unveil that kind of presented themselves? And also, along the way, we've noticed there's little notes to the shuttle on the outside of the building and inside. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about that?
Well, there are so many interesting surprises. We work with a very strong lighting design firm, Fisher Marantz, out of New York City, and they're one of the best in the business. And so when we started to talk about how to reveal the shuttle, reveal Atlantis from various vantage points, we realized that when we lit her with various dramatic angles, that what got exposed were unbelievable detail on the thermal tiles. Or, the real scars we talk about from her very many, 33 missions. And so I think that she's a story that's still kind of unfolding, and if you notice, it cycles in and out of different kinds of light here. And so that's one of my favorite little surprises, is how she sort of changes over the time of the experience. A lot of the graphics that you see with the little messages, those are really dedicated to the people of the program. Those are dedicated to the engineers and the astronauts and the leadership of NASA, because they really were the inspiration for this project. And so it was fitting that their words would be on the building.
Just to add a little bit to what Mike said, folks like Bob Cabana and others that have flown shuttles in real life, we went out last night and met. We have a number of astronauts in this weekend that flew Atlantis. In fact, if all goes well, we will have one person from every mission Atlantis ever flew here, and to help us open this exhibit. And when you talk to them, and they really are the ultimate critics, and when they tell you, you did a good job, you really feel very proud that you were able to deliver what we tried to do. A few hundred people have been into space, and they've enjoyed a view that only those on Earth can dream about. They try to describe it to us, but it's very difficult to do. They try to capture it on film, and we tried to do that even on the outside of the building. Director Cabana called me one day and said, the new building looks really good. I really like the outside. It's so hard to capture exactly what we see. It's just amazing, the visuals. And so when we open the doors and we show Atlantis for the first time, we want people to stand in awe a little bit and to say, so that's what it was like. We want them to look at the background and see in space and go, that looks really cool. And then as you go through the building and see all the different people, you go downstairs, those are tires from 135 sitting on the floor. I know because I have a picture of the outboard main left tire when she landed, and it's sitting downstairs, that same tire. So we want to tell the real story. And I think when people see that, they get inspired. So the happy moments for us are when people come out of the reveal theater and they applaud, or they cry, or they're just in stunned silence, and they walk up to this amazing worldwide artifact, really, and say, and you see the kids, little kids pointing at daddy's arm, or mommy's arm, asking questions. It's really the payoff for us. And because this was not easy, it was a lot of work. But when you do that, at the end of that, you can kind of say, we did a good job. And at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do.
Anyone else?
I'll ask one.
Okay.
Hi, Bill Harwood, CBS for Bob Cabana. Just, this isn't a question aimed at Delaware Northern tourists, because this is a fantastic display, obviously, and you guys have a lot to be proud of. I'm just curious, I've talked to a couple of astronauts been here, and folks that have seen a lot of shuttle flights. There's a certain sadness to seeing a vehicle like this all caged up. I mean, it looks like it could go take off and fly, it really does look that way. Do you have any feelings like that emotionally? I realize it's happy to see an orbiter like this on such prominent display, but it seems like there is a little tinge of sadness to it, just the way the program ended with a viable spacecraft that was kind of stopped in mid-flight.
Bill, I'll tell you what I told the KSCT, and that is you can't have something better without change. And change is always difficult, but it's time to move out of low Earth orbit and go exploring. And we couldn't continue to fly the space shuttle and still be able to explore. And that's what NASA's about. I couldn't be more proud of how Atlantis is displayed. I couldn't be more proud of what the space shuttle accomplished in 30 years and what this team did. So I'm just extremely pleased to be able to share it with everyone the way no other vehicle can be shared and shown. And I think it's pretty special.
One last question.
Robert Cabana from Talking Space. NASA wrote the book on how to take care of and keep flying shuttles for so many years. What's ahead? What's involved in taking care of Atlantis and the new home?
Great question, and we have done a lot of work on that. Actually, when the shuttle was wrapped, and for a while Mike was and his team and Tim were putting the building around it, very carefully I might add, and we did close in the back door, so the pilot can't take it back anyway. So one of the goals was, when we took it off, is we had, the building and construction was a little dusty, and we had this really odd saying that we wanted to clean off the bad dust and leave all the good dirt on. Because when Atlantis came home, there were amazing strikes and burn marks and scorch marks from her ride home. And we wanted all that to stay just as it was, just as she looked on the SLF when she came home for the final time. So we hired a team of conservation folks from Washington who have a lot of experience with Smithsonian and whatnot. Our team has learned through that process, and we've already cleaned it once and almost twice already. And we have a special lift platform on the roof to take care of her for years and years to come. And so just like the Saturn V and just like Atlantis behind us, we have to do maintenance and upkeep, and we will do that so that she looks just like this decades from now.
Thanks, everyone. Our speakers, if their schedules permit, will be around here for one-on-ones, round robins, and continue to explore and enjoy Atlantis. We'll be here to answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much.